This is the Toyota GR Supra 2-litre, and I've got a very simple question, namely, is it better than the 3-litre version? That's it, that's what we're going to find out today.
Now, on paper, this of course sounds like a no-brainer. Why, apart from the cost, would you pick the smaller engine? It's got less power, less torque, less performance, and surely less desirability.
Actually, no. See, all of that is fact apart from the last bit, because for years now, us road testers have banged on about the idea of an entry-level sports car with the least power, the least weight, and the least complexity. The Porsche 911 Carrera is a perfect example of this because it's the purest expression of Porsche's finest sports car. And if you saw our M4 versus 911 Carrera video a few weeks back, you'd know that the base spec 911 is, well, it's brilliant.
So, what I want to find out is whether this 2-litre Supra is the equivalent to Porsche's entry-level 911. In other words, is less more.
The good news is that if you buy a 2-litre Supra, hardly anyone's going to know the difference from a 3-litre because the only real changes are the wheels. They're 18 inches rather than 19 inches unless you go for the Fuji Speedway limited edition 2-litre. And also, for all 2-litre Supras, the tailpipes are smaller. On the inside, there's less carbon, there's less leather, and there's also no head-up display at all. It's just a blank fill in there. The really interesting stuff, though, comes when you lift up this massive bonnet, and you'll see the smaller 2-litre engine, but most importantly, the big gap from where the radiator sits to the engine, because that previously was filled with engine, and you had more weight forwards of the front axle, which really isn't where you want it. Anyone who's driven a late 90s Audi performance car will tell you that. Now, the weight distribution is pushed further back, which is better for handling.
This is all good stuff, but it does of course mean that the 2-litre Supra is obviously less powerful than the 3-litre. 254 brake horsepower instead of 335 and 295 pounds-foot of torque instead of 427. You get the picture.
I mean, that's quite a big drop in power, so you'd be forgiven for thinking this car might feel a bit weedy, but it doesn't. It still pulls hard. 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5.2 seconds. Top speed 155, the same as the 3-litre. It's also got the same 8-speed ZF transmission. And because you've got all of those ratios, you're never too far away from the power band, which, by the way, is exactly the same as it is in the 3-litre. It means you can make the most of the engine down a good road. It feels lively and it always pulls hard. No doubt about it though, it doesn't sound as good as the 3-litre, and it starts to run out of puff towards the top end of the revs, where the 3-litre really starts to sing and pull really hard. And I've got to say, this gearbox, it's got plenty of ratios, but a 6-speed manual wouldn't have been a bad thing, and it's a shame you can't get it with this car, because on other BMW Group models that have got this particular engine, you can get a manual gearbox, but with the Supra, sadly, you can't. You know, I can't really complain too much about this engine. It's a competent engine, it's good, but I just wish it had a bit more character, especially in a car like the Supra. It's like going to see a play that's starring Tom Hanks, and you get there and the understudy's filling in instead. You'll no doubt still enjoy the play, it'll be good fun, but it ain't going to be the same as seeing Forrest Gump himself, is it?
Of course, this is pretty much what we expected. A 3-litre straight 6, even if it isn't Toyota's own, is almost always going to trump the cheaper 2-litre. But what about the rest of the car?
The good news is that you can feel the weight saving, and that might sound obvious, why wouldn't you? But with some cars, you're driving the lighter version and you kind of think, where's it gone? It just feels the same as it did before, but in this, there is a noticeable difference. This car, it looks like it's going to have a big heavy front end with that long bonnet, and the 3 litre, it drove like that. There was a nice big notable lump up there, but with this, oh yeah, it's different. It's tighter, it's more responsive, it's more agile. Come into a corner, you make the input on the wheel, you turn it in, and bang, it does it. There's no kind of sort of softness that you got from the 3 litre. It's far more alert. It's far more adjustable even. And of course, Toyota's had to reprogram and retune the dampers and the geometry, all without that extra 100 kilograms. Saving weight is one of the best things you can do in a sports car. I just wish they did it more. This is a notable improvement, it really is. And while there's less power and less torque, because the balance of the car has been shifted slightly rearwards, it still feels just as rear driven as the 3 litre does. So you can still have plenty of fun on the way out of corners and just use the power to adjust your line. You've still got the limited slip differential. And actually, while it might not sound like the most important thing on a sports car, the ride quality, thanks to there being less weight and smaller wheels, has improved. So not only is it better at low speeds, it's also better when you're going along a B road, which is, well, less than perfect, shall we say. And there's plenty of those in the UK, as we all know. Things I don't like? Well, almost everything has improved with the handling compared with the 3 litre. Almost. Because the steering is still really lacking feel. And that, of course, was an issue in the 3 litre. It wasn't any worse, but because that engine's now gone and been replaced by the less characterful 2 litre, the handling has got to do more of the heavy lifting. And it does, in all respects, pretty much, apart from this steering. There's just no real indication of where the grip is under the front wheels, and it just leaves you guessing. Electric power steering systems have improved so much from where they were just a few short years ago, but unfortunately this one, it still feels like it's been left behind. And although that really doesn't matter in an SUV or a family estate even, in a sports car, you really want to feel what's going on, and you just don't in this, as well as you do in other rivals. It's a shame.
In summary, the 2 litre Supra has undergone a shift in character. No longer relying on its big, brawny 6-pot, its priorities have changed, and the end result is a car that handles noticeably better than its big brother.
In context, the 3 litre Supra can always offer something different to its rivals because of the character that engine gives it. With the 2 litre version and its newfound reliance on its handling, it can't hide anywhere. It has to go toe to toe with the Alpine A110 and the Porsche Cayman on handling, and in reality, it's always going to fall short. But don't get me wrong, this is still a good car. It's a 7 out of 10, and actually, objectively speaking, it's a better all-rounder than the 3 litre because it's got a broader and more even spread of abilities. And if you can spend £45,000 on a 2-seat sports car and take all emotion out of it, then yeah, this is the Supra for you. But if, like a lot of people, you're more interested in the character of the car and how it makes you feel, then it's still the 3 litre. That's the one to get. In the world's least surprising verdict. Sorry about that.